Here are two call options, same stock, same expiration. One costs $1.20, the other $33.60. Nobody is making a mistake, both prices are fair. By the end of this video, you'll be able to look at any option price and know exactly what you're paying for, and which part of the price can evaporate overnight. Every option premium, every single one, is made of exactly two parts. The first part is the intrinsic value. That's the value the option would have if it expired right now. Our stock right now is at $300. A call with strike 270 lets me buy at $270 what's worth $300. That's $30 of real hard value today. And what about a $360 call? Buying at $360 what's worth $300 is worth nothing right now. So the intrinsic value of this option is zero. But wait, the 270 call doesn't cost $30. It costs $33.60. And the 360 call with zero intrinsic value still costs $1.20. That difference, everything above intrinsic, is part 2, the extrinsic value, also called time value. It's what you pay for the possibility that things get better before expiry. The 360 call is worthless today, but there's a possibility that in a month the stock could run to 360. That chance is worth something, apparently $1.20. So here's the key information for this episode. When you buy an option, the intrinsic value is the part you can point to, while the extrinsic value is a wasting asset. It's a bet on time and movement that bleeds away as expiry approaches. Remember from last episode who collects that bleed? The seller. Traders have shorthand for how strike relates to the stock price. And you need it because every option chain is organized around it. If exercising today will be worth something, like our 270 call on the $300 stock, that option is said to be in the money. If the strike sits right at the stock price, it's at the money. And if exercising today will be pointless, like the $360 call, then it's out of the money. Now connect it to the two ingredients. In the money options are the only ones with intrinsic value. At the money and out of the money options are 100% extrinsic value. They are pure time and possibility. Which means when a beginner buys a cheap, far out of the money call because it's only $1.20, they are buying something made entirely of the melting part. Cheap is not the same as good value. Keep that in mind for the mistakes episode. So, what determines how big that extrinsic part is? Mainly two things. First, the time. A month of possibility costs more than a week of possibilities. More time, more ways for the stock to end up making your option valuable. Second, and this is the big one, expected movement. The market's guess about how violently the stock might move. And that guess has a name, implied volatility. Think about it as an insurer would. Insuring a calm, boring utility stock against a crash is cheap. Crashes are unlikely. Insuring a biotech with a drug trial readout next week, it's expensive. Same contract, same math, widely different premium. Because the expected move is widely different. Implied volatility is literally the price of uncertainty, extracted from option prices themselves. When you hear implied volatility is high, it means options on this thing are expensive because the market expects fireworks. Let me show you the picture that ties this whole episode together. It's the one on this video's thumbnail. The kinked line at the bottom is the payoff at expiration. Intrinsic value, the thing that we drew all throughout the episode 2. The smooth curve floating above it is what the option is worth today, before expiry. And the vertical gap between the curve and the line is the extrinsic value. And now watch what happens as expiration approaches. The curve sinks slowly at first, faster at the end, until at expiration the curve becomes the line. Every option's market value collapses onto its intrinsic value. That sinking motion is time decay, and we'll measure it properly in 2 episodes when we meet theta. One important warning before we close, because this destroys more beginner accounts than any strike selection mistake. Big scheduled events, earnings, central banks' decisions, drug trial results, pump implied volatility up before the event. Everyone knows movement is coming, so uncertainty is expensive. Then the event happens. The uncertainty resolves, and the IV collapses instantly. That collapse is called IV crash, or implied volatility crash. Here's the brutal part. You can be right and still lose. Buy a call before earnings. The company beats, the stock gaps up 4%, and your call is worth less than you paid. Because you bought when uncertainty was maximally expensive, and the IV collapse crushed more extrinsic value than the stock move added. Direction right, trade lost. If that seems unfair, good. It means you understood the episode. The premium wasn't just a bet on direction, it never is. Let's recap. Every premium is intrinsic plus extrinsic. Intrinsic is the real value now. Only in-the-money options have it. Extrinsic is the price of time and expected movement. It melts as expiry approaches, and implied volatility is what makes it expensive or cheap. Next episode, we return to the 3 reasons anyone actually uses these instruments. And after that, we'll measure the melting with the first 2 Greeks. See you there.